Hey, what's happening, all you supersonic warriors out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din coming at you again with IDW's Sonic the Hedgehog. This time it's issue number 37 titled Test Run. And we get to have some shenanigans with our friends Sonic, Tails, Amy, and this time featuring Tangle and Belle. Belle was discovered in the previous story arc in an Eggman base, not really wanting to reveal much about her backstory and who exactly she is. Although the running theory, and it feels all but confirmed, is that she was created when Eggman was the Tinkerer. Well, Mr. Tinker. And so the one good creation he made, not out of any form of malice, but when his mind was in a happier place, I guess you could say. And so for some reason, she's looking for her creator to some degree. I think she might be in denial that Eggman is her true creator. Or could we be thrown for a loop? Let's check into this story and find out. So, originally, the idea that a lot of people had was that Belle would become kind of like an assistant to Tails, helping out in his workshop, but ultimately it was decided that she might have a little bit more use if she had joins the Restoration. And we see that the entrance to Restoration HQ is in the ruins of a destroyed city. They felt it kind of made a bit of a statement to honor, the town. They wouldn't rebuild it. It would stand as a monument to all that they lost. It's a very compelling kind of statement, all things considered. But the real Restoration HQ is actually underground, and man, what an elaborate underground setup. It looks kind of like a mall, honestly. But we meet up with Amy and Jewel. Amy stepped down as leader of the Restoration. It went from Knuckles to Amy, and she passed it on to Jewel because of her more superior organization skills. Jewel is very much about stuff like this. So they introduce Belle to Jewel, and ultimately Jewel, hearing that Belle is all about, you know, mechanical work, just craft work and stuff like that, she summons over the one sheep Mobian. Well, we don't call them Mobians anymore. The one sheep character that's been appearing very frequently in a lot of stories that Adam Bryce Thomas does. I think her name is Linlon, which is like some kind of form of sheep wool or sheep fleece. But she's got this weird underground following kind of going around. And her personality is kind of shown to be a little bit more serious than need be. She's been kind of popping up here and there, so a bit of a fan favorite, all things considered. Meanwhile, Jewel takes everyone else to the center of her operation. And Amy is just like, yeah, I really don't want to be here any longer. But then our heroes receive word. Meanwhile, Belle is introduced to the head of the I I don't think we ever really got his name, but he's kind of like this laid back hipster dude who works with all the mechanical goings on in the restoration. However, as he gets Belle to help out, ultimately everything just continuously goes awry at every turn. It even gets to a point where Belle's tail is pulled on, and as we know, every time Belle's tail is pulled on, she kicks. It's a very involuntary feature, and that box that she was holding goes flying into a nearby boat that starts to go out of control, almost crashing down, but in comes Tangle with her super versatile tail. We really need a game with Tangle in it. Like, her tail is something else. It's got a mind of its own, man. It's wild wild. But ultimately, Belle gets kicked out, and we've come to find out that Tangle is also not really allowed in the workshop as well because she's been a little bit danger prone too. So ultimately, uh, Belle and Tangle kind of hit it off. It's just like they're even calling them weird tail buddies because of the weird situation involving their tail, which, honestly is kind of a bit of a thing here. It really makes you wonder if that was a conscious decision. It's kind of weird. But all things considered, very nice, very cool. But Tangle and Belle ultimately end up hearing about some kind of weird storm going on off the coastline. And a lot of people think that it's Eggman, and Tangle thinks that it might be time for a little bit of action. So they meet up with Jewel, who's already been informed about the situation, and they find through the use of their drones that there's some kind of installation right off the coast. So our heroes get ready to head out, everyone except Tangle, as she has paperwork to do. So as our heroes head to the installation and go crashing in with much gusto, they end up falling into this weird portal that transports them to an unknown location. Meanwhile, Belle really wanted to go on this with the hope of ultimately finding her creator. So she manages to talk Tangle into basically hot wiring a hovercraft and heading out. But meanwhile, Amy, Tails, and Sonic end up going through the portal into this weird installation, and the portal closes behind them, apparently overloading once they had gone through. They managed to find a badnik busted up, and they questioned why the badnik was drawing on the walls with chalk. And as they travel around, they realize, some of the chalk markings that they had seen before end up disappearing, almost like the space around them is kind of warping and twisting and turning. So in order to escape, Sonic grabs Tails and Amy and tries to just use his speed to escape, but then it's almost like reality starts to just kind of bend in on them. And as they try their best to break on through, it just gets really, really trippy, dude. Man, like, I love the visuals of all this. Adam Bryce Thomas's are always fantastic, but he really outdoes himself here. It is a surreal experience towards the end of this. But I do like that ultimately, yet again, Tangle has made a fast friend in Belle, but ultimately it really does beg the question, why is Belle so intent on hiding all of this? We've had Eggman robots as allies before. Why is she so in denial? Is it ultimately that she just really doesn't want to be associated with Dr. Eggman, which I can understand, or is it something deeper than that? Tell me your thoughts and more in the comment section below, and do the YouTube dance. Subscribe, bell, comment, like, And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.